The first question is, what age did you go into the Army?
I went into the Marine Corps at the age of 19 and later joined the Army at the age of 21.
When he first enlisted, it was a little nerve-wracking knowing that I wasn't going to see him for some time. But then it was like a family decision, and I knew that it was going to be a secure future. So for me, I'm like, all right, let's do this. And so it was more of a together decision. I felt all right.
Being in a different country definitely had me feeling foreign. I felt a little alone because there was just a bunch of foreigners around me who spoke different languages. I had to constantly transition schools. So it was just a constant lonely feeling, but I got over it eventually and became my own best friend. And my mom and the family that did stay behind, like, we grew closer.
First entering into the military, I realized that the upbringing that I had was not, didn't really prepare me for life. And so didn't really know what I wanted out of life. I knew that there was just more. And so my purpose for joining the military was basically to be able to create a life for myself and create a life for my family.
The first thing that I thought when I realized my dad's in the Army was, when is he going to come back?
When my husband left to the Army, there was a sense of worry initially. I didn't know what his MO was going to be, meaning like what he was going to be doing. And then when I found out he was going to be doing transportation, during that time, it was like when the war, hit, it was just a lot going on during that time. So it was like, kind of shaky during those times. So
I was in the military for a total of 13 years. Was in the Marine Corps first. I did 8 years there and about 9 years in the Army, totaling 13 years. I could not put my guard down. I couldn't be lazy there. I had to always be ready and prepared because if I knew if I lost my life, then it would affect my family. And so I just needed to get home to them.
I wanted to see him more and hear from him more, and we couldn't, or me or my mom couldn't, because he's overseas. So it was just a waiting game and a wanting.
I realized that I wanted to pursue my calling as a pastor. I think I was young, maybe like in my early 20s, and I knew that I loved people. I knew that I wanted to give hope to people, and I loved the Word of God. And so about that time frame, maybe in my 22, 23, 24, is really when I felt the call over my life to do that. And so I went and I pursued it.
The point that I realized in needing to pursue the calling of my life, it wasn't something that was sudden. I knew that there was a calling to do something, but because of my upbringing, it was very difficult for me to even consider pastoring a church or serving in the capacity that I serve in now. I knew that there was something, and we didn't know what it was, or I didn't know what it was, and so we just started to serve the community. And in serving the community, the natural leadership within me began to draw people and attract people.
And like, no, give me the straight no, just say no. That's why you have to grow the discipline to be able to say no to something.
And that is what allowed me to step into my pastoral calling. It was not something that I believed in myself and I thought that I could do it. I just did something. I began to serve. And as a result, that is what drew other people around us and formed what then was a church.
I think it turned out well, or I know it turned out well. I have a great dad, and he, when he did come back from the military, he spent more time with us and continued to make sacrifices for us and show us that he loves us as best as he can, and he still continues to do that. And he gives us all advice. He's just a great dad, and so I think leading up to now, I turned out to be just like him, and I'm a leader, and I'm also confrontational and all those things that he is. So it turned out pretty nice.
Well, when we planted the church on the edge, that was not something that we had in mind. Again, we were serving the community in Columbus, Georgia, and we won a community service award for serving a minority community in 2008. And so as people were partnering with us, we decided to launch a church. But we became very tired. We were just always after resources. We were helping a lot of people. and we became very, very tired, very weary.
We, come from Columbus, Georgia with On the Edge Ministries. Then we moved to Oklahoma City and we come up with the Link Church. And that was through a lot of prayer and fasting and just, meetings with different people. And we all felt on the same page. So it was an exciting time for us to transition.
The next steps are just really continuing to grow the network to different areas of the nation, to include now internationally, starting in Mexico. And so at this point, the reality is that we're just going to flow with what God is doing in the midst, just walking through the open doors and establishing a network of churches that we can do life together, that we can grow together, that we can train leaders, that we can give them the tools that they need to effectively plant a church and grow a church, and doing all that we can to operate in excellence and expanding greater than we can ever imagine, knowing that God is with us.